to make his first Cup race of 2010.
Now, one thing that this team did after Atlanta, they made an engine change. They actually migrated to the Earnhardt Childress engines, and so we know they should be in great shape under the hood.
Looks like a good lap. It is. It's better than Nemechek's, and Mears will race on Sunday for the first time this year.
First time in 2010.
Nice job by Keyed Up Motorsports.
I think he's looking for a little bit more. I think that first one was just a security lap.
And he fell off a 10th, Darrell.
Believe it or not, we raced.
Doug Richard. Doug Richard, yep.
Oh, man, it feels good. It's been a long first few races here, but everybody's working real hard over at Get Up Motorsports, and Raymond's committed to making the program better. He stepped up and got some ECR motors for this weekend, which is a big help. And it just feels good. We get to go racing now, have a stress-free Saturday, and work on race trim, and hopefully have some fun on Sunday.
Powers into Pocono. Denny Hamlin joins us live. Plus, we break down the whole Kyle Busch, Richard Childress situation and what led to the blow-up. Don't miss NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. It's tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, live on Speed. On track now, Scott Riggs.
I think took off a little bit right there. Yeah. He got out of the gas pretty early. I mean, it looked like he got in the throttle right, but he had to wait on it a little bit.
Yeah, he went back to it. You could almost hear him go back to the gas really hard, but then he had to come out and go again.
10 trips to Pocono for Riggs, his best qualifying effort. Inside of row 3 back in 2005 and finished 8th here 5 years ago. Riggs trying to beat Mike Skinner and make his way into the field. Skinner's best lap, 54.578 seconds. The white flag for Riggs puts him in the show, 53.807 seconds.
You're good. Shut her down, bud. Shut her down.
And now we hear from Mike Skinner. Matt?
Adam, the car's being unloaded on the rollbacks. And the month of May was tough for Scott Riggs. You guys only made the Kansas race last weekend, but you're in the show tomorrow. Did you get everything out of the car today?
Oh, absolutely not. When Skinner took that ride there right before me going out, I knew there was a ton of grip on the racetrack because it's so much cooler. Just didn't get it all out of the car. I tried to not overdrive the car because if I overdrove it and got it out of the groove, we would really pay the big penalties going down these straightaways. So I left a lot on the table. So you're going to see some really fast times. I appreciate everybody at Whitney Motorsports for giving me the opportunity, but it's a hard battle what we're trying to do here.
I think we're going to see some great times today. It sounds like we've got a lot of grip on the racetrack.
So a lot of the teams are trying to predict what that's going to do to their cars and try to get them set up, and then they have to make this fast lap with that setup.
A little shuffle in the roster for this weekend. This is Jason White aboard the 27 car. He has been driving the 00. Michael McDowell will be in the 00. Michael had made a couple of runs in this 27 car. That's why you keep your lineup sheet with pencil.
I'm following you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Jason's first lap will be the first of his two, 31:23. Jason is one of the drivers who has to make the field on his time trial speed. Does not have one of the guaranteed starting spots by being in the top of the owners' standings.
You know what? That's not a good lap at all. He is almost 2 seconds off the fastest lap time that we saw in the Nationwide Series here.
Shock package to be able to handle those kind of bumps.
Chase Miller on the track now in the 46. Blake Cook in the 24 car was supposed to have run already. They were not at the line at their appointed time. They were put on the 5-minute clock by NASCAR, but it looks like they're going to make it as the car is out on pit road and being pushed to the front of the line.
I'll tell you what, as a driver, talk about a sickening feeling. Your car's not up there on pit road. You got 46 cars here today. You can miss this race if you don't get up there and qualify.
Well, you want to talk about a sick feeling? How about the crew chief and the guys that are having to get it through tech?
Oh, yeah.
That's the hard part.
And the drivers are going, what do you do? You're the crew chief. How'd you mess this deal up on me?
Yeah, I think Blake Cook's got a guaranteed starting spot, so at least he doesn't have to worry about that, but he wants to get a qualifying run in.
And at a fast track, you want to make sure you got everything buttoned up on that car before you send the driver out there in it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and then you say your heart rate's running, you're all jacked up, and you say, oh, by the way, go out there and run wide open.
Yeah, don't lift at all.
Chase Miller, fourth fastest, one of those that has to qualify on time, not locked in yet, as we have 2000 Series champ Jeff Green is on track now. little bit better on the green side of that graph for the moment.
He's got a lot of talent. Talk about championship. He was a 2000 NASCAR Nationwide Series champion, like you said. He likes this racetrack. He likes running around here, and he's a good qualifier, too.
And you see just by the graph how good he got off turn 4.
Yeah. Top of the board. Jeff, one of those guys not guaranteed a spot in the race. I think he's in pretty fair shape there.
That'll make you stand on a little harder one at Rusty.
You're not guaranteed the race. I mean, it'll make you get up on the wheel. No doubt about that, Andy. A lot of pressure there.
Looks like he got all there was on the first lap, though. See our tracker in the red on the second lap.
Tire fall off. Mentioned it earlier, right?
Yeah, these tires are really only good for about one good lap, and then they start building heat and losing speed.
Yeah, let's not say that they're bad after that first lap. They just start losing speed. So Jeff Green, new leader in qualifying, and has locked himself into the field for tonight's race. Michael McDowell behind the wheel of the 00 on the track now. Of course, you can't come to Texas.
I got to look away almost every time. This is a savage impact.
That was in Cup qualifying a few years back. I think Michael's come to expect by now that video is going to be seen when we come here to Texas.
Yeah, remember that was the new car of tomorrow, they called it back then. And boy, everybody questioned the safety of it, but they found out right there that car was really safe compared to the older car we used to have. That big flip, he walks away from that thing, and like you said, Andy, it was really scary to watch that.
Now, Michael and this team have struggled with this car. He had a mechanical problem this morning where one of the lines that
broke, like the sway bar, shock, something's not hooked up.
That's all. You can see something in the way that car went through the corner. It had a ton of roll in it, like maybe a sway bar came loose. Michael.
Jeff Fuller got a win here in 1996, starting from the pole, trying to qualify while we were away. Tim Sauter got wiggly in his 29th fastest of those who have taken time.
And Tim is a go-or-go-home car at a 16.12. I do not think that's going to get him in, but his lap bumped Clay Rogers in the 91 car into the show for tonight. Jeff Fuller in the 7 car completes lap 2. That puts him 21st quickest. That will bump Mark Green in the 23 into the show.
Yeah, I have a good idea. Let's go to Bob Dillner with our current pole sitter.
Well, now this guy that's driving 2 Cup was Ron Hornaday, but he's 5th fastest. Matt Yoakum.
And Jeff, we documented earlier in the show that Greg Bickle, former series champion, is taking over the reins of the 7 car. How did all this come about, Greg?
Well, I just got a call from Joe and basically asked me if I could drive one of the cars. And we talked earlier in the season about running a couple selected races with in the 87. I just assumed that that's what the ride was going to be, and then he told me Monday they had, of course, released Randy and wanted me to drive the 7. So obviously it's an opportunity for me to drive some in the Busch Series, so I'm happy to do it.
Any idea how many more chances you'll have behind the wheel of the 7 this year?
Really, I don't. I just I know there's going to be 4 or 5 opportunities at least. I think Joe's going to run Chicago and Loudon, but we'll wait and see.
You couldn't get a better guy to help fill in for your program than a former series champion, Mike.
Thanks, Matt. Actually, that team has 3 cars entered here at Daytona. This is the 3rd, the number 88, a twin to Nemechek's car. Former Busch Series Rookie of the Year and modified champ Jeff Fuller from Auburn, Mass. is the driver. First lap 27th. They practiced, what were they, 24th quickest.
Yeah, and this is actually Joe Nemechek's backup car for here, and they've been doing this a lot with Jeff Fuller. But Brian Patty, yesterday, Joe Nemechek's crew chief, told me come Bristol in August, we're going to put Jeff Fuller in the 87 car with the 87 crew with the 87 effort. They're going to give him a, not that this is not a full-blown effort, but they're going to give him the A effort at Bristol.
Well, that's great. That is the track where Fuller won his one Busch Series victory. So we'll look forward to that.
So there's a method to their madness.
You bet. Well, and that's a good reward because Fuller has had testing duty and qualifying the backup car and run a few laps and pull it in. So that'll be a great effort. And Fuller responds here, 19th fastest on his second lap.
Out on track now, the number 55, the 43-year-old Brett Rowe, as he makes his attempt to get into this field. Again, comparing him now to Kevin LePage as he comes across on lap number 1. at 51.27 seconds.
Yeah, it's a pretty good first lap that he's got there. He gets a normal pickup that could put him right in the range of locking himself in this race.
Brett has 22 NASCAR Nationwide Series starts, but he has never run here at Daytona in his career. Second lap, almost a mirror image right now.
Yeah, you're not seeing a lot of difference between these two laps. Having run pretty close to the same line on both laps, so you don't see the pickup. The reason that we are comparing to Kevin LePage is because one of these two drivers will lock in after this run. Looks like it's going to be Kevin LePage.
Coming for the stripe, Brett Rowe. Somebody's going to get locked in. Right now, it's not going to be Brett. 51.25 seconds. Kevin LePage gets locked in. So he joins Bobby Santos and Kelly Byers. So as he rolls it on out, we're going to
say thanks to Carl Wagner and the guys back at the shop. This is a fairly new car. We ran it at Dover, second race out, and it drives excellent. The motor was great, and it's a fast little racetrack here, and I think we got a pretty good control on it right now. So hopefully it'll hold up and end up in top 5 somewhere.
Yeah, good luck on that one.
Thank you. It's coming, looks like.
Dave?
Yeah, and one guy who's not going to be happy if it does come is Regan Smith. Now, Regan, you guys really need it not to rain here. I mean, this must be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it is a little nerve-wracking. I look out front of me here, and it's nice and clear, and I look in my mirror, and it's pretty black back there. So we're just hoping this thing can get in all the cars. We got a good enough car to make it, probably around the top 20 somewhere, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of luck and get to race the Sunlight car on Saturday.
He's hoping the weather changes to how it is in front of his car, guys, but I don't know. Turns 3 and 4 look pretty dark.
Mount the wipers now. Kevin Conway on the Speedway, who has a win in the USAC Ford Focus Midget Series this year. He started at age 15 in Legends cars, won several championships. He's been a motocrosser, a kart racer. He's run winged midgets, ASA, ARCA, and NASCAR late models. The Lynchburg, Virginia native made his Busch Series debut at Atlanta last October. And 31.63. If we keep going and get this session run,
it's going to be very borderline.
Yeah.
Very borderline.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and Jeff, I think you'll agree with this, if we can possibly get this rain to hold off. I mean, this racetrack is cool.
Mac would tell you if he was your crew chief, right?
That's right. If it's not going fast enough, if you're not going fast enough, just drive it harder.
That's right.
That's the crew chief mentality, right?
I guess so. Is that right, Larry?
That's exactly right. If you want to be comfortable,
that's exactly right.
If you want to be comfortable, go home and get yourself a lazy boy.
You can get a lot out of these places because there's so much grip. So
he said, if you want to be comfortable, just go home and get yourself a lazy boy.
Yeah, that's what I always say about the Speedway packages. You know, they all talk about how they don't want to run in a group. We don't get paid to come out here and ride around like we're in a taxi cab.
There you go.
He's talking your language, isn't he, Larry?
Exactly.
I like it. Carl Long in the BG Products Ford. This is a go or go home situation for Carl at 31.01. He's going to need to pick it up. That bumps Tina Gordon.
Yeah, that's about what he ran in practice, but he was only 44th quickest in practice earlier. As you say, it bumps Tina Gordon. That'll put Kevin Conway on the bubble, the 38th spot right now, and he picks it up a little bit, but not much. So he's 35th quickest.
Dave?
Well, and Mike, you talk about drivers being brave. Carl had problems with that car today in the fuel pickup area, so they had to run their laps with heavy fuel, which means they had to move a lot of lead around in order to make room for that fuel. So he drove it in there really not knowing what he'd have.
And just to explain to the fans at home, these cars have to weigh 3,400 pounds. They have 22-gallon fuel cells in the rear. But a lot of times to get some of that weight from behind the rear.
With Drew, so he's going home. Wayne Anderson, Jimmy Henderson will be bumped from the show. Dwayne Like, Casey Atwood, and Josh Richardson. The final going home spot again falls to the shoulders of 61-year-old Morgan Shepherd in the Racing with Jesus Ford. If Shepherd makes the top 36, he races on Sunday, and John Hayden goes home. If Shepherd is slow, he heads back to Conover, North Carolina, and Hayden gets to stay and race tomorrow.
Morgan knows this racetrack. He's won here before in a Winston Cup car, so he knows how to get around here. So
he won here for Jack Beebe for the Race Hill Farms team.
He also won for the Wood Brothers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wood Brothers too.
Well, yeah, it was. It wasn't Bud Moore. It was the Wood Brothers.
Wood Brothers.
last week, Shepard's car failed to make weight in the inspection line of the Winston Cup division. And he had to go home without having a chance to compete. So here's Morgan, completing lap 1. 30.639. That's 33rd fastest so far. So in the show for the moment, but I doubt that's going to hold up. He's going to need to be faster.
He needs to pick it up. He really needs to pick it up about half a second if he wants to have a chance.
We were all right. He has 3 Winston Cup wins here, driving for Jack Beebe, the Wood Brothers, and Bud Moore.
Hey, that's what we got us all up here for.
And he's not from Yaphank, New York. Second lap, faster, 30th for Morgan Shepherd.
30-38.
So hopefully Shepherd can hang on. There's 11 cars left to run. He's going to need to beat 5 of them. Let's go down to the garage.
Well, guys, as DW would say, interestingly enough, though, guys, I was talking to Harold Hawley at the sporting goods store the other night, and this team is already talking about championship in 2004 and what they can do to make the improvements to get really up there and as close as they are right now back there in 6th place. They'd like to get an opportunity to make a run for it next year.
Jeff Fuller, who is from Auburn, Massachusetts, and a former champion of the NASCAR Modified Division, and a former Rookie of the Year here in the NASCAR Busch Series. This is the NRA Foundation Chevrolet.
Mike, he struggled in practice, 44th quickest. His quickest lap was a 31.46. Just barely picks it up right now. He's going to be the slowest of all the cars that has attempted to qualify, 41st quickest.
I think he will be okay for a provisional based on car owner points, Larry.
Interestingly enough, the NRA sponsors this car here. Yesterday had a clay shoot down here at the Cherokee Rose skeet clay right down the road from the Speedway. And Johnny Benson and Ron Hornaday were 2 of the drivers that were down there competing in the competition. I think Johnny Benson actually won the drivers division. So NRA very much backing a lot of the guys here in racing and making things a lot of fun happen.
Jeff Fuller will be the slowest of 41 drivers to take time so far, but should be okay for a provisional.
Optimism. I think he's going to be fun to watch tonight. It is a new tire, by the way, and on the lefts and the right sides, and a little more stagger, and a little more wear on the left side, a softer compound on the left side. How does that impact the way the trucks handle? Well, I think what it'll do is the wear will get better as we race into the night. We've got rubber on the track now from both the Xfinity cars and the Cup cars, so the wear should be less, but more stagger just helps the trucks turn, and a lot of times on the big tracks, you get pushing. The front end doesn't want to make the left-hand turn when you get to the corner, but I didn't hear anybody talking about pushing down in that garage area. Everybody's I texted back and forth with Stuart Friesen. He said everybody is loose. Yep. And that means fun for us to watch. This is Josh Bilicki. Josh did not run at Daytona last week. Had 4 races a season ago. The second driver to qualify of our 35 here today. That truck sounded like it was misfiring or something. Didn't sound healthy, did it? No, I think he's got some issues. You could see there the speed is well off. It is 1 lap.